Well, good evening, good people. We are back once again with a reaction video to what has just happened today at Milimani Law Courts regarding the Rigathi Gachagua impeachment. This is Sync 24 with Kennedy Abongo. I'm going to provide the analysis, what I think is the approach the court will take. Hopefully, it will turn out to be true. Before we proceed into that analysis, I would request you to subscribe to our channel, like this video, and click the notification bell so you are notified every time we post. This video will provide an educational analysis, so you can either agree or disagree with my position. You can put your comment or even raise questions regarding anything you'd wish us to clarify or speak on what is going on. Having said that, let us look into what is happening today. So basically, as you all know, several applications have been made, and some others were just made today by the order of the court. And that application is what now ended up being canvassed. So many of you may be confused as to which application I'm referring to. So let me just summarize it for ease of understanding. First of all, is that the deputy president, rather the former deputy president, Rigathi Gachagua, moved court for conservatory orders. And those conservatory orders were granted to the effect that the deputy president designate, Professor Kithure Kindiki, was stopped from being sworn in. So if you check one of our videos, we clarify the position whether or not Kenya has two deputy presidents or none at all. I do advise you to go check that particular video to understand where we are right now. So the government of Kenya is faced with a bit of uncertainty because power abhors vacuum. And the government with uncertainty, like the one we have right now, can create a lot of anxiety among the public. Often, such anxiety is not good for any government of the day. So for instance, what happens, if I may ask, if, God forbid, the president dies or becomes incapacitated? So these are the weighty questions that must be disturbing the minds of the court when it is considering applications and responses to those applications that involve this nature of proceedings, impeachment of a deputy president. So then, when the conservatory orders were issued, the Honorable Attorney General moved with speed and also sought orders to lift those conservatory orders. That request was not granted by the court. Rather, the court directed the Honorable Attorney General to serve parties and reserved today for hearing of the application by the Attorney General to lift the conservatory orders. So what we have witnessed today is one hell of stonewalling by the advocates of the petitioners. That includes the former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, who is a direct petitioner in one of the petitions. So the first issue that they raised was for the judges to recuse themselves. So when they came, it was expected for the court to hear that application for recusal as a preliminary issue before delving into the substance of the application by the Attorney General to lift the conservatory orders. What happened, however, was an entirely different approach. When they came, they not only put aside the argument for recusal, but raised new applications. Important of which was that the empanelment of the judges who are before whom the applications are before is illegal and unconstitutional, having been empaneled by the Deputy Chief Justice. So we ended up having them argue an application regarding the empanelment rather than the application to lift the conservatory orders. So I know most of you watched the proceedings today, as many of the Kenyan people were, but it is important to understand what is really going on and the strategy that is being deployed by the petitioners. So the strategy is simple: to drag this matter as much as they can. And that is going to involve raising applications after applications. So I do expect, not entirely so, but I do expect applications to continue coming in order to prevent the court from delving into the substance of the application by the Attorney General. So if you see, tomorrow is probably going to be, they're going to spend the whole day, the judges, writing a ruling regarding an application for the empanelment. And possibly, they're also going to deal with the issue of recusal. I didn't hear so much of an argument regarding the issue of recusal from the parties, and I think the court have ended up taking the approach that was suggested by Counsel Ongoya, which is that if they deal with the issue of empanelment and find in the affirmative for the petitioners, then there would be no need to proceed with the issue of recusal. So by default, the court would not have to proceed and entertain the matter. The position that was advanced by the respondents was that these are matters considering the nature of the application and the orders that are being sought. These are matters that ought to be considered together and a ruling delivered thereof, so as to allow the court to now proceed and deal with the substance of the application by the Attorney General to lift those conservatory orders. So there is still a legal fight that is going on, but then this is my prediction regarding the application that is that counsel argued today in court. It is very unlikely that the judges are going to determine in favor of the petitioners in this matter. When I say in this matter, I'm not speaking entirely about the application by or the impeachment itself or the petition itself, but rather the application by the petitioners against the empanelment, basically accusing the Deputy Chief Justice for acting unconstitutionally. The argument by Ongoya, I found the same to be quite interesting and also compelling if you look at it. But the retort by Professor Githu Muigai encompass the real progressive reading of the Constitution in order not to arrive at an absurdity. Because if you balance and weigh the veracity of the DCJ having powers to swear in the president, to form a tribunal in the absence of the Chief Justice, then you can't make an argument that the same DCJ is now barred constitutionally from just empaneling judges. So the argument by Professor Gidhu was that those other issues are more serious compared to these other ones. That's number one. Number two, that if you adopt the interpretation that was fronted by Counsel Elisha Ongoya, which I also find to be compelling, then you would reach at an absurdity. And that is a reality. Because so many things, if you interpret the Constitution that restrictively, it would lead to a situation where we can move into a halt. And a country constitution did not contemplate a situation where the country can be held hostage by one or more public office holders, such as the deputy, such as the CJ. Therefore, I honestly do not believe that the court is going to adopt or agree with the position advanced by the petitioners in this matter. If, however, the court agrees with their position, what would be the legal implications now going forward? How will the Attorney General then proceed? Because then if the court considers itself that it was not properly empaneled, or the DCJ did not have the capacity to do so, it would be interesting to see how the application would be canvassed. And now the implication of the orders that were issued by the same bench. Because if it was unconstitutional, effectively that would mean the orders that it issued with respect to the hearing of that particular application are also null and void. So either the Chief Justice, the Attorney General will have to have this matter placed before another panel of judges for hearing and determination, and that would proceed to eat into time and work in favor of the petitioners. The strategy is simple. Drag it as much as you can. Whether or not that will work out is yet to be seen. But from where I sit, I do not see a scenario where we are going to go beyond 1 month before we have a full hearing of the petition itself. Now that marks the end of our analysis. So once again, I would just remind you to subscribe to our channel if you're watching us for the first time. If you are a returning viewer, we would like to extend our sincere thanks for your support, viewing us thus far. Thank you very much.